Hello and welcome back to Buck the Trend podcast. I'm Matt Nartiv.
And I'm Steph Klassenbach, and we have a very important guest with us today. This is Jana, aka Czech Chick. Hi, Jana.
Hi, guys.
Jana's been putting up with me for the last 2.5 weeks while I've been in Texas, and we figured as a local, and now local, and multiple world age group champion, she would be great to have on to talk through Ironman Texas, but also just like how to be great as an age grouper.
Yeah, so I'm sandwiched between...
He's sandwiched between greatness and he loves it.
or a rose between two thorns.
I don't think anyone listening believes that. So we had a fun dinner activity the other day where we were counting Ironmans that Jana's done. And it was like 23.
Which combined is more than both of us put together.
Yes.
Probably way too many. And my first one, though, was in 2012. Did you guys even know about triathlon back then?
No, I did not. I had no idea.
Nope, I didn't even know triathlon was a thing. Apart from London Olympics, maybe.
Yeah, I still don't. I mean, I probably knew it was swim, bike, run, but I definitely didn't know what an Ironman was.
That makes me feel a bit old.
I'm so sorry. Why triathlon?
That's a very good question, actually. I used to play basketball. That's how I got into sport. How I came to America, because I'm originally from the Czech Republic.
AKA Czech Chick.
And I was working in a corporate world at a Adidas Reebok company, and just did a lot of spinning classes post-college, running, but not swimming. And a friend of mine that was doing triathlons kind of said, hey, why don't you come out, meet my triathlon club, you'll have fun, you bike and you run, all you need to do is just learn how to swim and meet new friends. And I said, sure, I'll try it. And that's how it all started in 2009, which is even long before I did my first Ironman. So my introduction to triathlon started in 2009.
Wow.
How old were you then?
15.
Perfect.
Great. And what I love, because we've spent a lot of time talking about like triathlon and our roots in, is you are incredibly successful now, but you weren't straight away. Like your first trip to Kona was not the fairy tale where you just turn up and you win on your first go.
No, my first trip to Kona was my very first Ironman, actually. So there was absolutely zero expectation. Back in 2012, you could qualify at a half Ironman, so that's how Kona was my first. And yeah, I just knew that it was going to be hot, humid, and windy. And that was it, really. I have swam the distance once before that in open water. I biked 180K once before that as well. And I've never done a marathon. So I've never ran a standalone marathon and obviously never done an Ironman. So I got to the race Tuesday or Wednesday of race week. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. I stepped off the plane. I lived in Boston, Massachusetts then. So it was also already pretty much winter. So it was from cold to very hot. And all I can remember is wondering, like, how am I supposed to actually exercise in this weather? But yeah, obviously did the thing. It was a mass start, one of the last ones ever. So that was terrifying and amazing. Probably the best ever experience. It's hard to recreate it, but it was also super scary, especially for a non-swimmer.
And it was a proper, it was a two, like both fields, both genders.
Yeah, men, women, all treading water and the bay and just helicopters overhead, and then the one big cannon goes off and washing machine, like proper washing machine.
Chaos.
Probably your worst nightmare.
Oh, I absolutely, that would have, yeah.
But you're so fast, you just swim away, where I was just in the middle of it for a really long time with nowhere to go, just swimming in very warm, beautiful water, because I didn't really have much of a chance to practice, right? I got there so close to the race day. But anyway, I had a blast. It was fun. It was hard, but equally I just had no expectations besides hot, windy, and humid, and that's exactly what it was. You know, I remember, I think I am a weaker swimmer, but then I've always been a stronger cyclist and a solid runner. So obviously always coming from behind on the swim than on the bike, because it was a mass start. It was a lot of men, women, but just people everywhere. But I was still, I was so new to the sport, I was still passing a lot of people on the bike and just wondering, especially with guys, how am I going by some of these men that look so fit? And obviously I think that's where I've first realized that like it looks doesn't mean speed. Because everybody was super tan, everybody seemed to have like the perfect body, and I was like pale as a Mets t-shirt over here. And like, it was just, anyway, it was fun. I made it to like 30K on the run, and that's when I realized like, I'm not sure, like everything hurt, just like from inside out. I think it's the pain that you only experience in your first Ironman. It got better from there, but just not having the miles in my body, because basketball is not running marathons.
I mean, normal life isn't running marathons
exactly.
after swimming and cycling. Like, it's quite a niche thing to do.
And also, Kona is your first Ironman.
I couldn't imagine anything worse.
I mean, everything is easier after that, I guess.
Exactly. I think that's how you have to look at it, Yeah, hot, windy, and humid, those were the three words. And I was like, okay, it is what it is. But I also had no comparison. So I didn't know what does windy in Hawaii really mean. And I think until you experience it, you can't compare it to anything else and anywhere else. Even there's windy, Texas is super windy. Every year you get strong headwind, strong tailwind, crosswind. You just don't know how strong, but it's still nothing in comparison to what Kona windy means. But anyway, I made it to the finish line in one piece. My bones didn't break like I thought they would with 10K left on the run. And then, I went to awards afterwards. Was lucky enough to be able to sit in there's a VIP section where you sit very close to the stage and you watch people get their awards, and they have a show, they put on a show. And it was there and then that I decided that, you know what, I want to come back and I want to one day be on that stage. I didn't know when, but I was like, okay, I finished this, I had fun, I want to come back. And that's kind of where the dream of like I want to win my age group became.
And I think that's so powerful, because that's the moment that you buy into this years-long process that didn't happen. It didn't happen the next year, and it didn't happen the year after, and it didn't happen the year after that. And I think we always get so caught up in, okay, well, I've trained for 6 months. Why am I not achieving the thing that I want to achieve? It's like, well, it's not necessarily how it works.
There's no timeline.
No. So like, summarize the next couple of years for us. Other than loads of Ironmans.
No, so I think, I started, so I did one in 2012. I was like, okay, I need to come back and I would like to be on the podium. So then I didn't go back in 2013 because Kona is expensive to go to. I was quite new to the sport, first Ironman, like I said, no marathon, none of that. So my coach was like, hey, if you want to go back and be on the podium, you need at least 2 years. So you need more training, you need more experience. I was like, okay. So I signed up for Ironman Cozumel in the hopes of having essentially, which would be November the following, so 2013. So it would give me full 12 months to just get stronger as an athlete across the board. And then essentially 2 years, if everything went well in Cozumel, then I would have another 12 months before the next Kona. So kind of a 2-year project, if you will. Cozumel being, the reason for Cozumel was, yes, I will have full 12 months, but it's also a hot and humid race. That's probably as close to Kona as it gets in terms of ocean swim, windy as well bike, and a super hot and humid run. So I did that. I did well in Cozumel, got my Kona slot for 2014, went back, finished 6th, which was just one shy of the podium. And I remember still being passed at like mile 20 or 21 on the run, and I just couldn't respond. I don't quite remember the details of my race and how it was, but I remember that pass and just not being able to respond. And then going to awards again afterwards and watching it and sitting there. And like, I still get chills, like just like when my age group got called up to go on stage, I'm like, oh, I should be there. Like I could like grab it. I was so close and I didn't do it, and just like crying. And I think Jorge, my coach, was there as well, and he was like, okay, like like I get tears now.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
She wants this.
He's like, she wants this, like we gotta, like we'll keep trying. And I knew I wanted to keep trying. I just was like, oh, I was so close. And like there's so many, it's such a long day. You have so many opportunities to be better, if you will. It's just hard to sometimes do it in the moment when you're struggling. So then I was disappointed in my run, particularly in that Kona 2014. So I signed up, I waited a few weeks to see how I recovered, and because I didn't run well, my legs came around quicker than they would have after the first one or the second one. So I went to Cozumel again right away, 5 weeks later, I think 5 or 6. And I got my slot for Kona again, so that was out of the way. And I was like, okay, now I have another year to focus on that. I did do 70.3s then as well, but that just didn't, not the same fire, like just not as exciting to me as the Ironman distance. And then I went back in 2015 and had a very good race, ended up second in my age group. By a long shot, so it wasn't close, but okay, I made it on the podium. Okay, so now we're a step closer.
Yeah.
Obviously, absolutely amazing feeling. I was in third for the longest time and passed a girl literally on the very last turn onto a Leahy Drive. Ooh. Like down that hill,
like
before
literally
you turn.
400 meters to go.
I was closing. I mean, and she was properly dying, unfortunately. And I just sprinted. I mean, talk about it. It was like I was winning. It wasn't even. And the girl that won was maybe 10 minutes ahead, so it wasn't even a question. But just, it was like a head-to-head situation, and it was just, it was amazing. I was like, okay, so that was super cool. But I'm like, well, I want to win.
Yeah.
I'm close, but not quite there. But then I didn't have. So I was like, I thought I would do it the year after because I have gotten better, just obviously kept working. The fire was still burning the same. And so this is 2015. And then 2016, I had an okay race, ended up 4th, so still on a podium, but it kind of became a bit of a joke, like, oh, you're just collecting the different size bowls because you get a different size for every podium spot. I'm like, okay, gonna try again. And then I started doing Ironman Texas because I knew I needed to get better racing in the heat. And the only chance to do that was either late fall, which would be Cozumel, which is a good race, but it's always so close to Kona that you're kind of dealing with, like swim and bike is usually fine, but you're dealing with that post-Ironman fatigue on the run at some point. So 2016 was the first year I came to do Ironman Texas. Which back then it was the last time it was in May. So it was guaranteed to be very hot, very humid, probably almost worse than Kona is in October. And that year, actually, Texas had lots of storms, which we can get, especially later, kind of after they moved it to April. And the swim was changed, but it was still the proper distance, so that was good. Bike was only maybe 150K, so like 90 miles with 90 plus turns. So it was nothing like
in the woodlands. It's like there's a lot of residentials, like streets, and they're all circular, and you've got like commercial centres with lots of like little shopping malls for those that are in the UK and understand what that is, and car parks. And they were just sending you through there because the highway was flooded, so you couldn't use the road that you'd normally ride on. So you've got all of these athletes on tiny little roads being directed by these amazing volunteers who overnight have had to redesign the bike course to give everyone a race.
Yeah, it was complicated, but how well the community came together was absolutely amazing. Not only was the swim changed, the bike course changed, but then on the run course, this massive storm blew through that stopped the race for nearly an hour, I think. So again, it's like, what do you do with all these people on this 3-loop run course? And how do you figure out where everybody is? Temperature dropped by 30 degrees. It went from summer to winter pretty much. The amounts of rain, like you just can't. There were rivers coming down the roads. I mean, people were ankles deep in water. I had just pretty much finished before the hell broke loose. But there was a lot of people that obviously had to be like held aside in like 3 different spots, depending on where you got there, near a timing mat, that were stopped. And then eventually like, okay, you can continue, because the lightning was so bad. They obviously didn't want anybody to potentially get killed. Really, that would be very bad. So anyways, I started doing Ironman Texas then. It could have been such a horrible day given kind of what the day brought and the lead up to it. But I had such a great time. I decided, okay, I need to come back here when the weather's hopefully
when it's not raining so
when it's not raining so bad and the race is not changed, then we're doing the proper course, which was then, I've done the race pretty much ever since then. Almost. I skipped a couple of years around COVID, but 2017 I came back, and was the first time that the race went on the Hardy Toll Road, with the 2 loops with the headwind tailwind situation, but still the 3-lap run course, and it was moved to April, so a bit end of April. So this week coming up, obviously in a couple days.
Yeah, literally a few days away now. That's a reminder.
And yeah, I just looked at it then as an excellent opportunity to practice racing in hot and humid conditions, even though I was still coming from a cold place. And then I eventually ended up moving here because I met so many people from the community, made some of my best friends here, and started coaching a lot of people as well. Because Steph can tell you the community here is amazing.
Yeah.
And because the weather is pretty nice all year round. Everybody's active all year round, so kind of there's no hibernating like you get in places with seasons.
A lot warmer than Boston in the winter.
A lot warmer. A lot less snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I moved here in September of 2018. And then essentially after a full year of living in crazy heat and humidity, probably from about May to end of September, in 2019, I'd say then take it back to Kona, I guess, is when I won my first Kona.
Which is, like, that is a huge journey to go from that first moment of being in VIP, looking up at the stage and being like, I want to be up there collecting the winner's bowl. That is where I see myself, to 7 years later, having the tenacity and the foresight and the team around you to keep you going through all the ups and downs, because it wasn't easy.
Yeah. Like you're so close and you think you get it. And then all of a sudden it's like 2 years of just not horrible race day, just I wasn't able to put it together. I felt like I could do it. I just wasn't able to show it. But I don't know, throughout it all, and even now, people always ask me, oh, you've won so many times. And yeah, I have, but I still feel like I haven't had the perfect race.
Yeah.
Whatever perfect means. Like, it's not winning, it's not that bowl, it's just having a day that I know I swam, biked, ran, fueled, hydrated, all of that cool to the best of my abilities from the minute the race starts to the minute the race finishes. And there will always be ups and downs, but how you handle them. And I've experienced only a few times, and I think kind of it's a big mental game, right? Ironman, it's not just physical, and I think that's why I like that distance so much more, because it's not just about how fast can you go. It's like you only go as fast as your brain allows you to go.
Yeah.
And there's a switch that we all have that I wish I could find every single time I want to, but it's not that
there.
easy. And I found it before. I found it in 2019. I was coming from behind. I ended up catching the lady that was leading the race at the time at mile 21. And I had just spent a couple miles kind of feeling sorry for myself, like, oh, here we go again. I don't feel so good. You're on an out and back in the energy lab. So you're coming out, if you're ahead and you're going slight uphill, it's hot. You feel like you're going very slow.
Yeah.
People are going in, so they're going downhill, and you're like, oh, they're going really fast. They look really good.
They look great.
They still have a little bit of breeze in their face, and I don't. It's like, okay, they're going to just come and get me, because that's happened before. And then I came out of the energy lab, was able to see Maggie, who was at the time leading, that I knew what she was wearing, I knew what she looked like, I knew who she was. And I went from, okay, this is it, like I just want to survive, to mentally being able to flip that. And I ran the last 10K the fastest of the day. Which was like...
Having walked Kona is really hard.
Yeah, and I had nearly walked ever since then after that. Because it's just... I flipped that switch. And I was like, okay, I'm unlocked kind of the next level, and I'll be able to do it again when I want to.
Yeah.
And I think I've done it one more time since then, and like, that's it.
And to put it in perspective, for anyone who's done a marathon, let alone a marathon in an Ironman, to pace your last 10K as the fastest is hard going.
Yeah, I certainly couldn't imagine doing that.
It was... Yeah, it's hard to explain. Like, it's still giving me chills. I still see it in my... Like, you forget a lot of things. I don't remember the podium. I don't remember standing there holding the bowl. But I remember how I felt when I felt like crap coming out of the energy lab, turning that corner and being like, oh my God, like, is that her? I'm like, it is. And then Jorge was actually, my coach was in that spot as well. He goes, she's right there. I'm like, I know. Like, I remember the conversation. And I remember thinking, like, do I just stay here and like sit behind her until top of Palani? Because I like to run downhill. I'm like, I can just throw myself downhill. That's fine. And I'm like, no, I think she looks like she's struggling. I need to go now. And it's like, as soon as our like shoulders almost touched, it's like somebody's like, okay, here's the gear that you need. And I just went. And then obviously I had seen Jorge a couple more times, and he said, oh, you got to keep going. She's only a minute back. I'm like, okay. And then I got to the bottom of Palani, and somebody that followed me on social media is like, you're going to win. You have a 10-minute lead. And I'm like, what do you mean I have a 10-minute lead? She's a minute back. He goes, no, she's walking. She's 10 minutes back. I'm like, oh, Jorge. I can't say the words that I want to say on this podcast.
I think we can all feel them.
I can actually enjoy this. Like, I don't have to sprint to the end. I can just keep going. But yeah, it was absolutely amazing. So that was 2019. And then it's been a good ride since then. And I thought that maybe I would be like, now what? Because I've seen that happen with some athletes as well. It's like you've reached that goal that you've had. But I don't know. I just was like, no, I can still feel that I can do better. Whatever that means. Again, like, it's not a bigger bowl, because there is no bigger bowl. But I knew that, okay, that 4 miles before I caught Maggie, like, why didn't I keep going? Like, clearly I could have, but I didn't think I could until I did. And so, yeah, I just was like, okay, well, maybe I can do it again. Like, just to show that it wasn't a fluke or something. And then COVID happened, I think. Right?
Yes, 2020.
2020. We were training for Ironman Texas again, and then a couple of weeks before the race, they're like, oh, there's probably no race. I'm like, no, that's not possible.
Surely not.
We are racing. This is Texas.
Yeah, it was around that March, April.
Yeah.
It was on my birthday, actually. It was the last weekend that anything was open, and then the day after, they're like, better hurry up and go buy some food.
Need to get some toilet roll.
So that was a bit of a break, and then we didn't race for a little bit.
Yeah, it was a while.
And then I don't remember what I raced next. I think, because then Ironman Texas was in October, so I didn't race it because there was supposed to be.
Oh, it was a big will they won't be with Kona in October that year.
I've done a different Ironman. I think I did Ironman Waco. That's what happened. Different Texas Ironman, because I didn't want to swim in Lake Woodlands in October. Because all summer it's a very small lake, and the temperature is very, very high.
Yeah,
Not
and it
bad.
is stagnant water.
And it's stagnant water.
I mean,
and
considering it's,
didn't really
what, 24.5 degrees Celsius at the moment?
Yeah,
And it's April.
Yeah.
April.
It hits the 90s. I don't know what that's in Celsius.
Uh,
Probably
It's
close to.
It's like mid-30s,
Yeah,
I think.
probably
Low-
quite
low
close
30.
to.
Mm.
Yeah, so I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That's
No, I wouldn't.
basically a bath.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I did, I think, St. George Worlds and then Kona again. And yeah, won that one again, I think.
You think? Yes, you did.
I got a few more after that. We'll just leave it at that.
Well, I guess we can quickly go on to how you guys met.
Yeah.
Yes,
We
there
can.
we go. Because I think that was the. Was that the next one?
I think it
It
was
was
the year after.
23.
The year after.
'Cause I think you,
Yeah, I won in 2022 because I raced St. George. I was injured and ended up DNFing on the run with a 10-minute lead after a half marathon. But I just couldn't. Hurt my hamstring. It was just too much pain. It wasn't worth it. Kona was then May to October. So what?
like-
4 months later or 3 months later, and that was much more important to me to try to, because that would have been to try to defend the 2019, which is so crazy. 3 years
years.
gap.
3-year
Yeah.
gap. Wow.
Yeah, get that title again, hopefully. And yeah, it came together, so I was able to do that.
And then 2023 was the year we were both on the Zwift Academy.
Yes.
So we had a wonderful trip to Germany and Austria. Got given our wonderfully fancy bikes.
Yeah, it was like Disney World, the Disneyland of triathlon. It was. Yeah.
It was insane.
It's hard to explain.
We were all cruising around this tiny German town on e-bikes.
Oh yeah.
to get
Go
to
to
and from
dinner on
dinners.
e-bikes. I don't know how to use this.
Just all so overexcited because we were getting new bikes.
surprise after surprise, wasn't it?
So many
Royalty
surprises.
treatment.
Yeah.
Is an understatement, I think.
Yeah, it really was. Like, yeah, and then flown to Austria to do some riding and swimming and running, and it was just like, wow, this is cool.
We just needed to stay there a bit longer. That was
Oh, yeah.
absolutely amazing.
Yeah, we needed a good week in Austria, I think.
And not just the things you got, the bikes, the equipment, but the people you met along the way as well.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the whole experience was just crazy. And it was it's really weird to think that we literally spent those 5 days together. And then, I mean, we had 2 weeks in Kona because we got out there a week early. But that was it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only time that we actually spent together as a group. And yet, it just feels like I've known you forever.
Yeah, it was like one big family.
It really was.
It was an amazing. I mean, that was. It's like hard to explain. That was almost better than like the whole experience. Obviously, not just the things. The things are great, but you can. I guess. Well, I couldn't buy them because I don't have enough money. But you can buy
In
things.
theory, you
but
can
you
buy things.
can't
You can't buy what we got to experience.
buy the experience. It was. Yeah, that's where I met you, Matt.
Yeah, for the first time,
For the first time.
you'd heard plenty about me.
Yeah, and then Matt, it turns up to Hawaii complaining because he was really hot the whole time.
But that's okay because I was probably cold coming from the Texas summer, so we kind of
Yeah, we shared a house together for the first week, and then the second week pretty much shared
shared another
Shared
house
a much bigger house with a koi pond
and a chef,
and a chef. Thank you, Michael.
chauffeurs.
Yeah, we did have chauffeurs, drivers. I mean, they weren't chauffeurs, but they were chauffeurs. They
Yeah,
were wonderful.
Anyway, shall we move on to Texas? Because we are recording, Wednesday evening?
Yes, we are, because we have procrastinated wonderfully this week. It is Wednesday evening.
So this will be coming out tomorrow morning, if I can sort my life out and get it out.
Oh, we'll be fine.
So we have Texas in a few days. It will be on Saturday morning, Texas time. So
It's like 12:30 start in the UK, 1:30 in Europe.
So do you want to give us a quick? Well, I can give us a quick. You give us a quick brief on the course and conditions and what we can expect quickly, maybe.
Yeah. So we have had a week of cold weather, a week of really hot weather, and then yesterday it started raining and it's not really stopped, which is important because it changes I don't know if it will change. There's been so many conversations about whether it's going to be a wetsuit or a non-wetsuit for pros. It's definitely going to be non-wetsuit. It's still so hot. It's borderline for age groupers at the moment.
I don't honestly think it's ever been wetsuit for pros since it's moved to April, and it's never been non-wetsuit for age groupers.
Yeah.
But I think this year
It might be.
we're getting very close, and the next couple of days are going to be quite warm.
Yeah.
So, and we're already borderline right now, so it'll be interesting. But,
Yeah.
for pros, you definitely in swim skins, age groupers, I don't know, pray for a wetsuit for those that need it.
I think the pros pray that it's non-wetsuit all round because age
Yeah.
groupers swim faster and all sorts. But the swim itself is, it's in the lake, as Jana said, and then into a canal. So it's dead flat. Okay, obviously it's flat because you can't swim up and downhill, but there's no waves, there's no current. Like, it's simple. It's 3 sections, an out and back, and then you turn right and you just swim along the canal until you're out. Bike course, it's wiggly for a little bit until you get onto Hardy Toll Road, and then it's straight for like 34 kilometers. Do a U-turn, ride back. Do a U-turn, ride back. Do a U-turn, ride back. Leave the road and wiggle your way back to transition.
That's pretty accurate.
It is probably less flat than people think it is.
Yeah, there's definitely some overpasses along the way that may feel a bit hilly if the headwind is strong.
So I think last year people were
Last
running
year.
out of gears.
Yeah, so
Both
last
ways.
year the wind was so strong that with the tailwind you were running out of gears if you didn't have a big enough front chain ring, but you were still going super fast, and then you were going significantly slower the other way. So it was kind of like almost like going uphill for 45 minutes for a pro, and then for an hour, and then flying back that section in like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
That's how much of a difference there was.
Which is, it's so funny listening to people talk about it from the race last year, because they are literally like, I had like 20 plus kilometre an hour average speed difference in each direction. We are not forecast to have that wind this year.
That's correct.
I think it was like 29 miles an hour last year wind.
Yeah, it was big.
And currently it's saying 3.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
it's
currently we're
5
up
to 10
to-
miles an hour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I don't think the forecast was that bad last year. It just, something happened overnight. So you
Yeah.
never really know.
No, this is Texas, so yeah, anything can change. So we can look at the forecast the night before and then get up in the morning and it's plus 10 miles an hour. So although it's nice to think that it won't be as bad, I think you need to be mentally ready for it to potentially be that bad.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, if it is that bad, you're only working half the time, really.
Yeah.
Because the other way coming back is that fast. But I think one tip that I'd give is age groupers or pros is when you're going with the tailwind and you're going really fast, when you turn around, you feel like you're going super slow now, even though you're not really going that slow. But because you've just flown, like essentially almost broken a speed limit for 40 minutes on a bicycle, then it feels so slow and you kind of mentally beat yourself up about like, oh my God, I need to push more. And it's like, no, just keep your head down, stay as aero as possible, make yourself small and do your race. Because in this heat and humidity, which you're going to feel, it's very important to be careful and listen to your body.
For sure, and we are definitely going to get on to asking you about tips for racing in that, because I need all the help I can
Jumped the
get.
gun.
And then once we get off the bike, it's a 3-loop run course that I have run the majority of. Jana joined me on a bike and was cheering me on. It was wonderful. It's a great run course, so it's dead flat. It is flat.
Depends where you come from. If you come from Texas, there is some rollers.
Yeah, you have to go up over a bridge.
There's one bridge.
Which, I mean, and the thing is, on the last third of a marathon, any incline feels like a hill. Like, everything is a mountain, even downhills are mountains. But it's a run course with a lot of support.
100%.
Which I think if anyone's watched it in previous years online, like, it looks compelling. It looks like an exciting race to do. So yeah, the weather development that everyone has been watching with interest is the humidity that's decided to turn up. So we had 2 lovely fresh weeks that was very low humidity. This morning it was 100%.
It was not raining yet, but it was 100%.
No, but it was 100%. So it's like breathing through a straw. And that is much harder to cope with than the heat is. So we'll see. It's going to be hard.
Yeah, I think, like I said, the key will be to take care of yourself from before the swim. If the swim is wetsuit legal for age groupers, then definitely as soon as you get out of your wetsuit, because there will be overheating happening whether you want to or not. And then just from the beginning start, because it may not feel that hot on the bike, but it will be humid.
Yeah.
And you don't realize just how much you're sweating and heating up from the very beginning, and you don't want to fall behind. So I think we kind of talked earlier, and I said when you're doing a hot and humid race, which Texas in a couple of days 100% will be, you have to pay attention you have to take care of your body from the very beginning. There's no waiting, because you make a mistake, that mistake comes to bite you quite quickly and in a big way.
Yeah.
It doesn't give you a leeway like in a cooler race where you may not overheat as much and it's like, okay, I can catch up. Here, when you cross that threshold of being too hot, it's almost too late. Like you get thirsty, it's like, okay, it's too late. So I think tip number 1 is to just take your time, really at any level. Like, you know what you can do, you know what you've trained for. Like, don't be silly.
Yeah, and I think you always say, don't do anything new on race day.
Yeah.
You are not going to make any physiological gains between the night before the race and the day of the race, especially when it's hot and humid. Like, you're not going to be able to miraculously push an extra 40 watts or run an extra 30 seconds per kilometre faster, especially in conditions like this. So, if it's especially, and if it's not something you've trained for, us coming from Europe, we don't get the combination of high heat, high humidity, high dew point. I didn't even know what that was until I got out here. We just aren't used to it, and our bodies don't respond in the same way. So we have to be very mindful on race day, and the amount of matches that you think you normally have to burn, halve it.
Yeah, and you may need to reduce your power if that's what you use on the bike. Watch your heart rate. If you're running by pace, forget pace. Run by heart rate, run by effort. Because your pace, if you're aiming for a pace that you run in 40, 50, 60 degrees Fahrenheit, you're not going to be holding that for long when it's 80 or 90, which, again, if the forecast holds, we are in for a hot and humid day, which, take care of yourself.
We had a really fun session last week. So after I told the podcast, sorry, if everyone's watching, Matt keeps moving my arm. He thinks I'm holding the microphone too close to my face. I disagree, but that's fine. I said on the podcast last week, I've adapted to the heat, I've nailed it, this is great. Oh my God, was I humbled. So I think it was the next day, I went, was it a run first?
No, it was the bike.
Oh, it was the bike. So I had a short bike and I just couldn't be bothered to go out and fight with the traffic. So I just turbo inside and I melted into a puddle. I ended up with 3 fans, my Omnius headband. I went through like 5 litres of water in 2 hours. I didn't get anywhere close to executing the session that I was supposed to. It was so hard. And then the next morning I wanted to do my interval run early so that I could like eat properly.
And beat the heat.
Because it was so much cooler. I walk outside, I was like, oh, this is quite humid today. Like, it's really quite hard to breathe. Oh, well, I'm going to carry on. It will be fine. I do my first interval and I nearly pass out. Like I was at tempo, so like just a little bit faster than aerobic speed, but I was hitting threshold heart rate. I was so dizzy. I was so hot. I finished the interval. I'm like bent over like a rag doll on the floor because I couldn't put my hands on my knees because my legs were so slippery because they were so sweaty and it wasn't evaporating. And Jana just like picks me up and was like, come on, we'll just walk for a bit and then you can do the next one a bit slower because I don't think you should do that again.
Like, I know it's not hot, but remember the humidity I've been telling you about that may show up as we get closer to race day?
Is it?
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We found it.
But we just walked for a few minutes.
Yeah,
You got some more fluids in you.
I did.
Were you hydrated?
In an hour and 10-minute run, I drank 1.5 litres. It's an awful lot of water. But I did, and then I did do the next interval, which was fine. So it is all about effort management.
And you looked so good and in control, and it was only a tiny bit slower than the one
Yeah,
before.
it was only a little bit slower.
So it's like, hey, you just pace yourself. Like, don't chase your pace that you run at home like Steph did. This is what I run in the UK. I can do it. It's just 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's a really long 20 minutes. It was a very long 20 minutes.
When I bet you had she done it the other way around, started out a bit slower, still obviously quick, but just more in control. I bet you the second shorter interval, you may have been able to work yourself up to where you started versus going the other way around, and you just hit the wall so fast in this humidity. You just, like Steph said, it's like breathing through a straw. Or being at altitude. Like it's the same way. It just feels like somebody's sitting on your chest. Like, no, you're not having a heart attack. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but
pretty sure you're not having a heart attack.
it's normal to feel that because the air is so thick.
Yeah.
So just stay cool.
Leave your ego at the door.
Exactly.
Which is my plan for race. I want to have a really drama-free race.
Be aware.
Yeah, just exist.
Yeah.
Execute well. See where that gets me. I say that now. I'm not very good at racing like that.
No. So sorry, I don't know why I disagreed with you there. I don't mean no.
No, Steph.
So we're 3 days out. So we've got a few more days of taper for you both. A lot of eating and a lot of taper tantrums from you both, probably. Mainly Steph, but maybe a few from Jana.
Today's been emotional. I couldn't decide what dinner was. It took me about an hour. It was quite stressful.
But you figured it out.
I did figure it out, yeah.
We got there in the end.
We did.
So what does race day, perfect race day look like for you guys? What are we looking at?
Oh my God. I literally haven't got that far in my thinking. Okay, let's do it on the spot. So, in the pro field, there are some really excellent swimmers. And I think we could have a really strong pack of women at the front of the race that I would like to be a part of. I've been swimming really well. And I would be disappointed if I didn't get into that group. I think that's fair enough to say. But I don't necessarily, unless the opportunity presents itself, I don't want to be going after a fastest swim here. This is part of the preparation for Kona where I try not to do stupid things and I don't make the race as hard as possible. So like if I can sit in and accept the speed that we're swimming and kind of use other people, because like Taylor Nibb's racing, Julia Molo's racing, there's some excellent swimmers that are going to be driving out the speed. It doesn't need me to drive it. Then that would be great because we're going to get onto the bike and the question is, can I, or how long can I, hang on for dear life to Taylor's back wheel for? And is it a good idea? And they are questions that I'm only going to know the answer to on race day. Because obviously for me to place as well as I can, I need a gap to some of the super runners that are going to come through. But I can't spend all of my pennies in doing it. So all of those things are things that I can only know on race day, and we'll have a plan with regards to like watts and what I want to hold, but predominantly I race off field anyway. So I want to have a good swim, but not be leading it out. I want to have a good bike, but not put my nose in the wind for too long so that I can get onto the run and I'm feeling in control and I'm feeling not cool because, I mean, no one's going to feel cool, but calm and collected so that I can then execute a really good run because I hemorrhage time on the run when it's not going well. And I don't think I'm in that position anymore. So if I'm coming onto the run in control, I can run well and not lose too much time.
Sounds good.
Drama free.
Jana?
That sounds like a fun day. I would also like to be in the lead group of the swim and just calling the shots that way, but that's unfortunately not something that's going to happen to me. So in an age group race, which is obviously very different for the pro race, if it's a wetsuit swim, and it's going to be very warm. I just need to control my effort, swim as easy as possible without overheating, but strong strokes and just, stay on course. And get in the water, get in the lake.
Don't miss the turnaround, boy.
Try not to miss the turnaround, boy. That's a story for another day. We've already been talking for too long. I will not miss any turns. I will make it into the canal. Swim nice down the middle of the canal, which, again, is a bit different for age groupers as there's so many people at that time. And you need to stay down the middle so you don't get the wash off from the walls. Because otherwise it's not a flat swim, but a very bumpy swim. But anyway, just do my best on the swim, control my effort, get out. My race kind of starts when my feet hit land. I have power targets as well, kind of for the headwind, tailwind sections. But like Steph said, also how I feel is very important. So I'm not afraid to let them go or push a bit harder if my effort and heart rate is also in control. Focus on my fueling so I can have a strong ride and then set myself up for a run, which is my biggest goal for this race, is to run well, which doesn't mean like win the run. It just means execute to my run training, which I feel really good about this year. But again, I know it will be hot, so I can't chase the pace. I will, again, chase effort, use the fans all around this course and this 3-lap course, which is absolutely amazing. I think the run course is the number one fan supported ranked run course. And because I live here, I know a lot of people, so you get extra cheers. So use that energy to kind of keep me going forward, hopefully on all 3 laps, not just 2, which is usually what's happened in the past. And kind of live by my own advice. Just fuel, cool, drink, and stay nice and steady, and essentially one big time trial from the beginning to the end. And then I end up where I end up. It is what it is. And cheer Stefan as she goes by me on the run, because we'll be starting that far apart in different parts of the course, but we're bound to hopefully pass each other somewhere.
I hope so. I love seeing people I know on the course.
That'll be fun.
What are your plans for race day, Matt?
I'll sort that out on Saturday morning.
Not get lost.
Yeah, not get lost, not get too dehydrated, and not get sunburnt. I think they're my 3 goals.
Don't get sucked into starting the race.
Yeah, I definitely will not be getting in there.
And don't fall into Lake Woodlands.
No, there's too many
scary
things.
There aren't any crocodiles or
alligators?
There aren't any alligators.
There are other
Snakes.
things, but we'll just tell you after the race.
Yeah, well, if we can have both of you have good races at that, we'll come away happy and be able to celebrate after.
For sure.
So we'll do a few picks for the pro men, pro female.
Yeah.
We can definitely do the pro men.
Yeah.
Steph, you might not want to pick your own field, but
no, it's a bit weird.
we'll go with the pro men to start. So there's a big start list, and you've been out here training with a lot of them. So you've seen a lot of them in the flesh in terms of how they go in. So do you want to give us your podium each for the male pro?
Like 1, 2, 3?
Or 3, 2, 1?
Or 1 only?
Oh, yeah. So we've been really fortunate that the Norwegian trio has been training out here. And I mean, Patrick Langer was here as well. And it's such a shame that he isn't racing. But it's so hard to look past Gustav and Christian. Partly because Christian's just run a 67 in Oceanside. And then Gustav podiumed and wasn't particularly pleased with his race. So you're kind of like, if they are on that form and with the kind of pedigree of athletes that they are, it will take an awful lot for anyone to beat them. And we know that they perform in hot, humid conditions. Like, they've both proved that.
I think all our top 3 is going to be very similar then.
Probably. But I don't know how to look past either of those. And I just have to say Andrea Salvesberg for 3rd, because he's also been out here training with us, and I'm now incredibly biased. We've had inside information that he's going really well at the moment. And that would be great. We're all for friends racing really well.
Okay, I'm going to go with Christian number 1. Mostly because he's stolen all my local legends Strava segments on my go-to long ride route.
Entirely your fault for giving him the routes to go and cycle on.
True, but I wanted him to be alive for the race, so that's okay. I'll get it back eventually. Not the KOM, but just the
just the
the
local
how many
legends.
times can I go around. I'm gonna go with Rudy for, I don't know, second or third. I'll throw Gustav in there as well because I think he's on good form.
And he shaved his head.
And he's got a very arrow haircut and he's ready to go.
It's already grown back. Okay, I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to go for Rudy first, Christian second, and I was going to... No, I'm not going to go for Ben Canute. I'm going to just put Gustav there because I'd like to see him on the podium.
Yeah.
There you go.
All pretty similar, but I'm going to go for an upset. I think Rudy... he's consistently always there or thereabouts.
He's done really well here as well. He won
23.
Yeah.
2 years ago. And yeah, he's just done well in Oceanside as well. So, and he's coached by Gustav's brother still, right?
Mikael.
Maybe, actually.
Yeah,
I think he is.
So there you go. We just
So it is a full
keeping it all
Norwegian podium.
Norwegian.
So yeah, there's our podium. Do you want to should we do female picks? You don't have to.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I'm going to go quick. I'm just going to go Kat, Taylor, Chelsea.
I'm gonna go. I don't know. Hard. It's hard. Who is good in the heat and humidity? That's gonna run really well. And it's April. It's so early. Some of these ladies have not been in the heat and humidity. I feel like so. It's like I want to pick them, but I don't because I don't. I feel like it's gonna be one of those extreme years when it comes to weather. But what the heck? I'm gonna go with Taylor, number 1. Kat, number 2. And yeah, I know we'll keep picking the same people, but...
It's pretty hard not to pick between those three, really, isn't it?
Yeah. You know what? Dark horse. Who just...
Steph Clutterbuck.
for top 5. Number 3. Who just came? Lisa...
Patera.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be
She's done well in
Cozumel
last year.
and
then Singapore just now. Heat and humidity, right?
Yeah,
Ran well.
That's a good shout. I think she's got to have a good bike to put herself in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. That could be. So yeah, feel free to follow along and watch. And Jana, bib number 290. So get that on the tracker. And Steph F9.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right.
Follow along Saturday morning. I mean, it'll be on YouTube back home. And is it Outside Watch?
Either outside, yeah. Although Oceanside was on YouTube as well, so hopefully both, because we all know that YouTube's better.
Yeah, less adverts.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Texas wrapped up. Do we want to run through anything else? I think we're at time.
We're probably at time.
So I think
2 podcasts this time.
So yeah, firstly, thank you, Jana, for having us stay with you, and secondly, coming on the podcast. I think potentially we get another one in at some point, talking through. Well, what would you like to talk through?
It depends how many biscuits you.
Well,
yeah, exactly. Matt has to bribe with this.
I've already eaten a few of them as well. So.
We need a restock for the next podcast.
We will see you next week for Texas wrap up. It's bizarre thinking that the race is going to be done. Feels like it's been leading up for ages. But yeah, see you next week for wrap up of Texas.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks for having me. Bye.